Did you get a chance to look at all the
I looked at
questions?
yeah, I looked at a few of them, and then send me the link again. Hold on, let me actually. I'm pulling it up right now, and I'll pull it up on here too, just so I can follow along with you.
Yeah, I'll
Okay, there
send
it
it to you
is.
right.
I just found it.
Did you? Okay. Well, I sent it as well.
Okay,
There we go. Yeah, so I figure that we'll just start right at the top and go down, and I'm sure some will be repeats
okay.
and stuff like that, so we'll skip those. But I mean, as best you can, I know some of the stuff you may not.
Yeah, and some of the stuff, I mean, I'll come out right off the bat. Is, I'm in the First Marine Corps district. So some things that go over on the East Coast aren't gonna be the same for over here. They just have different, really just different. They'll pass different things. So there's just because some of your listeners out there hear me say, hey, I can't get this passed right now. Say like a waiver for this tattoo or this thing
Sure.
doesn't mean that they still shouldn't check in with their recruiter and see what they have to say.
Okay, that's fair.
Okay.
And all right, well, yeah. So let's see. The very first one, it says, "Will a criminal charge as a minor require a waiver?" And the the crime was a graffiti charge, a misdemeanor 5, is what he
Okay.
says here.
Now, so that's something that is is definitely going to be a waiver. If it's a misdemeanor, it's usually not going to be an issue. It's usually not going to stop you from being able to enlist. Misdemeanors aren't really that big of a deal. Usually they can waive up to 4. It's not serious at all.
Is there
Uh,
like a timeline? So like, if the kid comes into your office and like the week before he got charged with it, do they have to
yeah,
have like a certain time?
if he came in, that's a great question actually. If the kid got this charge a week ago, he probably hasn't been to court yet.
Sure.
So there's nothing that we can do for it. It's definitely just you got to have the court done. You got to be either found guilty or not guilty, and your fines have to be paid off. Fines
Okay.
have to be paid off, and your restitution has to be served before you can even start the process.
Gotcha.
Um, the big thing with the thing with this young man and the misdemeanor is that it's not going to stop you at all. What you do need to make sure and have is all the proper documents. So
Mm-hmm.
get the court minutes, get the disposition, police report, and that's what we're all going to ask for. And then we're just going to submit to hire. They're going to look it over. You might need a RS level waiver, which is done by your state. It doesn't have to go any higher than that. Pretty much done on scene. This kid is going to be fine. The only problem is with the graffiti. If it was done to property, the amount of damage done will come into play and could make that um,
A
a
higher
waiver,
level.
a higher level waiver. Yes,
Sure.
that's
Okay.
just something. Again, just bring all your court documents to your recruiter, your local recruiting office. They'll be able to look it over and get you a solid answer on that one.
Excellent. All right. So a lot of the people that watch or are very curious about the infantry, and that's
Hmm.
kind of and I'm sure you get that a lot. People wanting to be
Everybody, yep.
scout snipers and kind of that whole deal. Does the ASVAB score and like the GT score that they need, does that vary across the infantry MOSs, or is it kind of straight
Oh,
across the board?
it's standard across the board. Um, and for that, you just need to get a GT. Just need to have the GT score, and you don't really have to necessarily. Um, I mean, you're not really. You know, it's no special score set. Just as long as you have that GT, that's all you need for the
Okay.
infantry job. And and there's not really any studying for that. I tell everybody when it comes to the line scores in the ASVAB,
Mm-hmm.
you're not going to study your electronics for a week and get any better on the ASVAB. The ASVAB's designed beautifully to place you where you should be placed, and it's an aptitude test. So
Yeah.
take it like you would take it, and see where you get for your career.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. This next question wants to know if you need a specific GPA, which I know you don't. Um, but on that note, is the Marine Corps taking people with GEDs? And is there a
Um.
certain process for that? Or,
So for me, and I'll answer this one for me. I don't want to go too much on other areas, but I'll answer it as me personally. For GEDs, uh, you can enlist with a GED. but you need 15 college credits of a college level 100 higher class.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
so about a semester of college, coming with that and your GED, and you're looked at as you just had a high school, same as having a high school diploma.
I see. Okay, good. And because I knew the Marine Corps did take people with GEDs, I just didn't know if there was, other stipulations to that.
Yeah, anybody that comes into mind, just the 15 college credits or higher.
Okay. Let's see. Uh, Another thing that people tend to get worried about is, they specifically, for instance, want 0311,
Hmm.
and but they're not sure if they're going to get an open contract with infantry, or is there any particular way they can guarantee getting a specific MOS with
No, so
infantry, combat support, whatever.
so and this is kind of like us as artillery guys, and I know you and I shared the same thing coming in,
Hmm.
um, which is really random. We're both from the same recruiting station, land up in the same MOS, same duty station. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was.
Now when it comes to MOSs and getting your specific MOS, it's not we at the recruiting station are not going to do that for you. What we get you is a program. So if you're looking at infantry, you're going to go and you're going to sign a contract. You're going to sign an O3 contract, which means you're going to be guaranteed to be in the O3 MOS designator. But are we going to guarantee you an 11, a 61? We're not going to be able to do that for you. We aren't going to be able to get you the specialty. That's done at the schoolhouse where the duty experts, are able to assign that to you.
Kind of pick the kids that maybe would do better, and
Yes. I
sure.
mean, someone like, I wasn't, coming in the Marine Corps, I wasn't the biggest guy. I got bigger as I got older. I might not be the best as a machine gunner or
Hmm.
I might be just a better assaultman or rifleman. So that's kind of how that's done is we let the duty experts in that MOS assign the specialties of that MOS. But if you want to go infantry, we can guarantee you an O3 contract, which is going to put you in the infantry field.
Okay. Is there ever a time when you guys are looking for specific MOSs? Has that ever
Um,
come down where they're like, we need to get, and not necessarily infantry, but just anything? Or is it always kind of more the general
band. We're always looking for qualified musicians for the Marine Corps band.
band guys? Okay.
Yes, always looking for qualified musicians.
Okay. What's the ASVAB score to get infantry? Do you know offhand the GT score that they'll need?
Uh, yeah. Hold on, give me 1 second. I'm just pulling up my computer right now. I finally got to load up. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
I figured they would ask specific for specific MOS stuff like that, so I'm gonna pull up my.
Oh yeah, you remember how it is when you're
Yeah.
you're like
Yeah.
taking the ASVAB back in the day, like fuck, hope I get
Tell you
a
what,
good score.
I remembered wanting to be a tanker and find out that I got artillery, and it was the greatest thing that's ever happened to me was getting the
Yeah,
artillery.
no, I was the same way, and of course one of the guys I went to boot camp with, he wanted artillery and he got tanks, and then I got artillery.
Is that always how it works? Huh?
Yep. Yep.
All right. So for infantry right now, and there's the new things that have came out is they added a physical portion to qualifying for infantry. Okay.
Oh,
And
like before you go, or is that?
before you go, so before I can assign a young man this applicant, this job, he needs to be able to do a physical portion for me. Some ammo can lifts, IST score comes into play.
Sure.
So right now for why is it going so slow on me right now? Sorry, it's like so going on an infantry option right now. You need a GT score of an 80. No waivers on that. That GT score of an 80, you need that no matter what. So, say you got a AFQT, which is your overall ASAP score, the 31 to 99.
Mm-hmm.
Say you got a 90 on your AFQT, but you got a 79 on your ASVAB GT, you failed the ASVAB for us. So no matter what, you always have to get a GT of an 80. So basically,
Okay.
when you pass, you qualify for infantry.
Okay.
Um,
And then how? Say they do fall below the line, are they allowed to retake the ASVAB?
yes.
And then how soon can they do that?
30 days, and that's like the 30 days of just solid studying and get them there. And there's a lot of what's really neat is there's a lot of tutoring out there now for specifically for the ASVAB, private tutoring that works really well.
Oh, is there? Cool.
Yeah, but for the infantry, what you need is the GT score of an 80. It's a 4-year term of enlistment, and then you need to be able to pass before getting signed. You have to do 3 pull-ups, you have to do 44 crunches, and you have to run a mile and a half within 13 minutes and 30 seconds. You also need to do 45 ammo can lifts to qualify for this program.
Okay. Well, that's good. They've implemented that.
They did. They did that. They did that in artillery for the combat support as well. And then at infantry school, they're going to need to do 6 pull-ups, run 3 miles within 20 minutes and 24 minutes and 51 seconds, and then they must pass the movement to contact in 3 minutes and 26 seconds with ammo can lift of 60 reps, and the movement under fire in 3 minutes and 12 seconds. And that's actually conducted at recruit training. So when they take their combat fitness test, that's what they're going to have to do.
Oh, okay. And they do that in at boot camp now, huh?
At boot camp now, yes.
Okay.
So they've made a little bit difference on the actual how you qualify for it and stuff. It's pretty cool. It's just making sure that they're setting everybody up for the right success.
Yeah. Well, I know artillery has the same thing, right? Over in Fort Sill now.
Yep.
I know Master Guns Banks was posting about it not too long ago.
Yeah. So I can actually pull ours up real quick. So for combat support, which covers field artillery, tanks, and amphibious assault vehicles, and then the air control, air support, anti-warfare, and ATC, you need a GT of a 90. It's another 4-year enlistment. They must pass physical requirements of 3 pull-ups, 44 crunches, a mile and a half run within 13 minutes and 30 seconds, and the ammo can lifts of 45. And then at recruit training, they got to do the same combat fitness test requirements as infantry.
Okay, good. Well, that's good to know. I didn't know that they had implemented that.
I think it's pretty cool.
Let's see. So these are on you if you want to answer, but asking for your best as well as your worst experience since you've been in the Marine Corps.
Oh, my best experience. Man, I don't want to sound cliche, but there's been so many. I mean, I've been going on 11 years now, and it's been awesome. I can't. My best experience.
Yeah, it's hard to choose, isn't it?
I think probably. I mean, being able to the first time that I watched one of my young Marines that I got from the schoolhouse that came in and that I basically raised in the Marine Corps, get promoted to corporal, and having the honor to be called out to pin on the rank of corporal and watch him join the ranks of a non-commissioned officer. Probably my greatest moment. Me personally, greatest moment was just this past October, getting promoted to staff sergeant was
Hell yeah.
Was very, very awesome. So I think those two are probably my greatest times in the Marine Corps. My worst time, oh man, I think really, to be honest, every time I got to go in that gas chamber, brother. I think it's every year I got to climb in that thing. I don't want to sound like a wimp, but I just can't ever enjoy that place. I think I do not like the gas chamber at all.
Was it? I'm messing up my timeline here. Was it with India when we had to go and do our qual on that, and they gave us full mop suits?
Yes.
Was that with India? I couldn't
Yes.
remember if it was with India or when I was with Mike.
I remember doing that with India, and then that was the time. Master Sergeant Thomas was yelling at us. Remember, making us do all the weird stuff outside.
Yeah.
It's the best. I just can't. I'm telling you, I think that's my worst experience every time. I don't really have a bad experience. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sure you want me to say something bad, guys, but I really love what I do, and it's hard for me to pick a bad one. I will say, and I tell all of my applicants to come in my office and talk to my recruiters. It's like any job. You're gonna have your bad days. You're gonna have your bad bosses, and you're gonna have days that you regret joining the Marine Corps. And for me right now, the reason why I've continued to stay in is because as long as the good days outweigh the bad, I'm going to continue doing it.
Hell yeah.
And that's just how I look at it.
And that's excellent. And you definitely seem to be doing well.
I appreciate that.
This is a big one that I get a lot.
Okay.
How can you tell if a recruiter is feeding you BS?
Google.
Yeah?
Google. That's one thing when I came out here to become a recruiter, and I found I came out here, and you know me, man, I'm very upfront and bold and straight to the point. I wanted to make sure that I never was accused of lying or being deceitful or giving bad information. And I realized very quickly that it's very easy because all you have is Google to really research everything I say.
Sure.
And so I mean, really, just Google what you hear. If you're getting told something and it doesn't sound right, ask the questions to either find the answer or go home and Google it. And that's basically what the best advice for you is. Or pick up the phone and call another recruiting station and ask them the question. You know what I mean? There's multiple in your area. Call somebody else, another Marine recruiter. Don't call the Army. Don't call the Navy. Don't call another branch. Not because they're going to try to make us look bad or we try to make them look bad, but because we have different regulations and rules and different things that we can and can't do. So you're not going to get the correct information. But just do follow-up research, just like you would do with anything else. But I will say that it's hard to lie about this because we're at an age where everything's at your fingertips. And majority of the guys, I'll tell you from the Marine side, it's not there is no, you don't get anything out of lying to a kid because you come back. If I lie to you, you come back after boot camp and everything I told you is a lie. Well, you know a lot more people in the community than I do because you grew up in this community, and it's really easy for you to pass a bad name around me around, and then that goes. My reputation goes out the window. So
yeah,
very rarely do you have those recruiters out there like people like to think there are that are just lying to everybody. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, and that's what I've pretty much the advice I've given as well. Call somebody else,
Yep.
if you're not sure because everyone's afraid of getting a contract that or getting told something and then not having it come true. And one thing I always tell them is to, if you want something guaranteed, make sure it's written in the contract that you sign.
Yep.
So if you think you're going to get, an enlistment bonus or something, make sure that shit's in there for the amount of money, that you were told. Otherwise, then nothing's going to happen.
And if you're getting an enlistment bonus, you're going to have to sign another piece of paper. It's another statement of understanding that is specifically for that bonus. So
Okay.
If you're getting guaranteed a bonus, expect to be signing 2 pieces of paper with your job and then the other one with your bonus.
Okay, that's good to know. Which MOS, I'm sure there's a lot of them, disqualifies you if you are colorblind?
Oh, there's a lot of them. There's quite a few. Now you can if you fail the color vision test, you can take the phalant, and if you pass the phalant, you're good. It's another test up there.
Okay.
So I mean there's quite a few. You want me to go through them all? I can.
No, just a few examples. Just some of the bigger ones.
Combat support. You need normal color perception. Anything really with the air, on the air side, mechanic side. You are going to be disqualified for a lot of jobs. I'm going to tell you, it's going to be basically any mechanical because you got the green and the red wires. And
what about infantry?
Infantry, you know what? That's a good question. Let me look real quick. I want to say it's good, but. Normal color perception. So you got to pass normal color perception.
Okay.
Or that's for. I'm sorry. That's for recon. To be eligible for recon. To be eligible for recon, you need a GT of 105 and pass normal color perception.
Okay. So it sounds like the other ones you.
For regular infantry, you're all right. You're all right if you're colorblind.
Okay. Good. I think this one's more of a personal decision, but would you recommend choosing an MOS in the O3 field despite the likelihood that he'd never see combat, considering it's a peacetime deal at the moment?
Well, I caution anybody to ever want to see combat, and that's something that you and I know of and understand.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was 17 years old, I wanted nothing more than to see combat.
Yeah.
So I understand where this question's come from. I wouldn't, I wouldn't, I wouldn't caution you away from it. You do what you do. What's going to make you happy. If you want to be an
Yep.
infantryman, then you want to be an infantryman because you want to be an infantryman. Um, I saw plenty of combat, and I was an artilleryman. So, it's basically do what you want to do what is going to make you happy. And brother, we just because there's not war's not declared doesn't mean that there's not Marines in parts of this world right now hooking and jabbing with the enemy.
Mm-hmm.
There's plenty of I still have friends that are out there doing missions and security missions and doing things throughout the world that we may not be seeing on the news. So, remember that we are a force in readiness for America, and it just takes one bad mistake from one bad guy, and you could be serving your country on the battlefield.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that, one, I tell them to do whatever job will make you happy, because those 4 years can be very long if you don't enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah.
And then two, yeah, one thing I was surprised about is how many infantry battalions get tasked out to a lot of these countries, and they do stuff that you never hear about.
Mm-hmm.
And you only know if you've talked to the guys that, were in the battalion at the time.
Yep. And on top of that is the training you get too. I mean, I'm jealous of some of the stuff that some of my the buddies that you got to do the mountain warfare training.
Mm-hmm.
That thing's a lot of my buddies that got out. They went on to work for the Forest Service and our park rangers, and it's just strictly from the training they got in the Marine Corps. And it's just the doors that the infantry open up is outstanding. So I think that it's a good choice whether you see combat or not. If you want to be an infantryman, you're still going to get a lot of good doors open for your future.
Yep, absolutely. Wait. So it says, if I become an officer after graduating, will the GI Bill take care of student loans or pay for law school? By officer, I wonder if he means if he reenlists to go to OCS.
Unless he's thinking about paying back student loans and all that, that's an officer side question. I'm gonna get killed for this. Somebody hears and knows I didn't answer this question on the officer side. I'm not 100% up on that one. If you want to give him my information, you can hit me up on Facebook, and I'll get further information on that one. And he can clear that question up for us, and we can get exactly what he's looking for.
Yeah. So Strong Gaming, message me on Facebook. I'll get you his information. How does prescription medication affect my eligibility?
Well, medical wise, I'm gonna say this real quick. Nothing's disqualified. Everything with the proper paperwork needs to be sent in and can be sent to MEPS to be screened, and then if it's not screened by that doctor and she finds it disqualified, you can go to the Bureau of Medicine in Maryland, and they'll work on that. Usually, you need to be off the medication for 6 to 9 months. No active prescriptions out there, and just your complete birth to present medical history needs to be looked at. Depends on the medication, depends on what it is. But for medical questions, I'm not a medical doctor, so I never tell anybody if they're disqualified or not. I just tell them to get me all of their medical documents and submit them for a medical read by the doctor, and she'll give us an answer, yes or no.
Okay, yeah, because I know it's not a huge deal once you get to the fleet. Guys were on stuff all the time, but yeah, for like boot camp and stuff, it's not like you stop and they let you take your pills. I certainly don't remember that.
Exactly, I don't either. And I see a lot of people come back and get things. I've seen a lot of medical things get cleared as when I was a recruiter and now as a station commander. I'm constantly submitting medical reads and they're coming back approved. So it's not a big deal. Just get the proper as long as you get the proper documentation that can paint the whole story of your condition or why you're taking that medication, you have a good chance of getting cleared.
Okay, good. You're asking the score that you need for MARSOC, and then can you clear up the difference between recon and MARSOC?
The score for MARSOC, I do not know because you cannot contract into MARSOC because you have to be a corporal before you can join MARSOC. So I don't really know that score offhand, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
I don't. The difference between MARSOC and recon, is really I think MARSOC's the operating side, recon, just the reconnaissance of what recon does. Their missions are a little bit different. They're going ahead, scoping the beaches, doing the battle site landings, figuring out the Mets of the area. Recon's more of like the map, the elite map builders, and that's not all they do. Obviously, they're intense war fighters. I don't want to say that thing, but their job really is to go ahead of the main force and give us a good idea of what we're coming into. Enemy size of the enemy, infrastructure, how our landing site's going to be. I mean, recon is a elite force of guys that are masters of many trades and many tools. And MARSOC is just I like to say it's the Navy SEALs of the Marine Corps. I mean, that's our SEAL force now. That's our special operations team. They are also masters of many tools and trades as well.
Okay, excellent. How tall and how much do I have to weigh to be in 0311? Or just infantry in general, I suppose.
There's not really height. I mean, as long as you're just not overweight, you'll be all right on that one. And that's just with your height and weight standards. Depending on your height and weight, your recruiter will be able to cover that one for you.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, hell, Fur's 5 foot, so you should be all right.
Yeah, exactly, right? 5 foot, 200 pounds, just lifting 400 pounds.
I know. He's become a beast lately. It's incredible.
Huge.
Another MARSOC 1. So from talking to a recruiter to day one of boot camp, how long can it take, or how long does it take? As long as they don't have to wait for high school to get over and stuff.
Oh, man, that varies. Right now, if you're a graduate in high school and you're coming into my station, you're not leaving until October, November.
And is that regardless of MOS? Is that purely boot camp availability?
Regardless of MOS, that's just where I'm sitting for my shipping spots. That may be different in your area. Talk to your recruiter. But if realistically, the process from start to finish with no bumps in the road, I could get you to MAPS test and qualified within 48 hours from the day we met. And you say you want me to do that, I can get you theoretically sworn in and contracted in 48 hours, and then you could technically be off to boot camp that next ship day,
sure,
which is on a Monday for us. So really, the process itself takes 48 hours to get to MAPS, take your test and your physical, and then you just got to wait on your ship spot whenever the next spot's a ship. So for you juniors out there that are looking to leave right after your senior year and your June, July, August timeframe, don't be those guys that come into my office and say, well, I wanted to join right away, but I waited until March or April, because my seniors are coming in now. They're leaving December, January, and February. So if this is what you want to do, get in there, talk to a recruiter, and get yourself a ship spot.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, it's amazing how it seems like they're not hurting for people if it's
not at all. No,
taking 7-8 months to get people out.
I turn people away right now if I don't feel like they're something's not right, or something's I don't think that they're going to be what's best for the Marine Corps. I'll send them to a different branch, or just let them know, hey, you're probably not going to be. It's probably isn't going to be the best for you, because as much as I'd like to get Marines in the program, or get applicants in the program to become Marines, I still have to make sure that I'm maintaining the most quality individuals going into the Marine Corps as well.
Yeah, we've all had our fair share of people that
can name a couple off. I don't want to do it, but I can.
Yeah, I'm thinking of a few offhand right now too. This is, why can't I get Motor T as an MOS? Is Motor T closed or something?
Does he have a driver's license?
Doesn't say.
If you don't have a driver's license, or you failed your depth perception, you're not going to be able to be Motor T.
Okay, yeah. Eddie, without any more information, can't really answer. But by all means, send me a message and I can ask.
Yeah, definitely. If you get, brother, if you get anybody that wants to hear some information from me, or anything on a personal side, you give me a ring anytime. I'll answer any personal questions too.
Okay, excellent. Can you have an astigmatism if you want to be an infantryman?
They got to just pass the normal vision test. If they pass the normal vision test, you're fine.
Okay. I've been in trouble with the law several times. No convictions. Does the USMC USMC still provide moral waivers?
Yes.
They do. Okay.
Okay, so moral waivers, same thing like I was talking about that misdemeanor.
Mm-hmm.
Why? I mean, I need a little more information on why you weren't convicted. Were they basically? I mean, what it would be is if it was, you know, expunged or things like that. A lot of times when you go to court, they're going to say, well, hey, we're going to charge you with this, but we're going to expunge it off your record and it'll never come up in a background check. That's
Yeah.
not true. We do federal background checks that will come up and will pull up your criminal history. And if that comes up and you didn't disclose it to us, you are a fraudulent enlistment and you will be permanently disqualified from the United States Marine Corps. So it's always best that you just give us all the information.
Just honest.
Let us work our magic and get you the waiver you need.
Okay. Yeah. And so, yeah, definitely don't lie. 'Cause he says here, one of them's paraphernalia, possession, as well as open container. But I guess no convictions for whatever reason.
So, yeah, that might have just been discharged because of some sort of reason behind it. Bring the documents in, like I said, for the other guy, to the recruiter.
Mm-hmm.
Let him send it up the chain and get the waiver for that. But a possession in an open canister, that's not going to be anything that stops you from enlisting.
Okay. Well, good. And yeah, Vizzle, if message me the why you weren't convicted, like what happened. Can I do 2 years of community college while active? And
yeah, I mean, you don't have to do 2 years of community college. You can go 2 years of at a university or online. I've been going to school for my entire enlistment. I got a Marine that works for me right now that has 2 degrees through the financial aid of on active duty.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to use your GI Bill. It's through the tuition assistance that they give you, and you can definitely go to school while on active duty.
And I think it depends too with your job and like your ability to actually show up to class if you're going to a class, because with us, remember, we were in the field all the time.
So I never went to campus because of that. I never went to a campus school. I did all mine online. A good one that I go to is American Military University. They're very, very military friendly and just very awesome, understanding. I know one time that I was leaving for a deployment like 2 or 3 weeks before the course actually ended, and my instructor let me actually take my final 3 weeks early.
Nice.
And was totally awesome about it. So it's definitely doable. It's usually a lot of it's internet class. And I tell everybody, like, people say, well, there's not enough time and all that. Well, there's plenty of time to do it. It's just, what are you going to sacrifice on your free time to get the school done?
Mm-hmm.
Are you gonna sacrifice the video games and the pizza, going out with your friends, doing that so that you can do your classes? If that's what if you're able to do that, then yeah, you'll be able to get your degree. But if you're not gonna sacrifice the Xbox and the pizza, then yeah, you're obviously not gonna have the time.
Yeah, I mean, I can attest for how much you just want to sit around after the field and
100%.
and stuff. Like, you really do. You don't want to do a damn thing after being out there for 3 weeks. But if you really want to get your degree and get done with it, then you gotta be willing to bust this stuff out.
Definitely.
How hard is it?
Oh no, go ahead.
Let me say, how hard is it to get a moral waiver for misdemeanor, simple battery, and truancy?
Not hard. I mean, it's another misdemeanor. It's just gotta get the proper documents. It's based off of what the actual charge was. Everything's based off the charge, and I'd have to look at that and what it is in your state.
Mm-hmm.
The truancy one, it's not gonna be any different. It's not gonna be any different. The only thing I'm gonna ask about that is, are you on track to graduate, or do you have your high school diploma? That would just raise a little red flags for me to ask preliminary questions. But if you are on track to graduate, or you did graduate high school with your high school diploma, it's not a big deal at all.
Okay, and that's good. Yeah, I mean, get your lazy ass in school. Don't not go to school because you don't like it. Whatever. Everything's much easier if you finish school how you're supposed to.
Definitely.
Try some of these are repeats. Let's see. So one here, all right, he says, all right, I already have a recruiter and asked him about ADHD, and he said, don't tell the people at MEPS, and don't tell anybody else. Do you find ADHD is difficult to get in with, or is it?
Oh, that's a Bro, you need to for this question you need to go talk to your staff NCOIC and let him know about your medical history. And I'm just gonna leave it at that.
That works. If you get caught drinking alcohol and doing drugs as a minor, can you not join?
Oh, you can join. I mean, it's the same thing. Proper
Yeah.
paperwork.
Yeah, and don't do drugs. Don't be an
Yeah,
idiot.
yeah. Definitely, if you want to be, having your buddies six and protect, we want you on your best wits for sure.
Mm-hmm. And does the Marine Corps allow, even if it's just like a misdemeanor offense, but for some of the more hardcore drug use?
I mean, it's all wavered. Everything's waverable, but it's not really looked good upon at all. No.
Sure.
Marijuana's about where it stops.
Okay. Yeah, and that's kind of how it was, at least when we joined, although I know some people did.
Yeah,
Some
whether
harder stuff.
Will that waiver get approved or not? No, it's not going to get approved. But marijuana usage, that waiver will get approved.
Okay. SAT and ACT scores, I can't imagine matter necessarily. Perhaps I'm on the officer route maybe, but...
On the officer route they do, or the NOTC scholarship.
Mm-hmm.
Which definitely all of you should, all the juniors coming up and seniors, definitely go talk to you. If you're talking to a recruiter and you took your SATs, ACTs, or you scored well on the ASVAB, make sure and get out there and hear about the NRTC scholarship. Apply for it.
Good. Yeah, I've never even heard of that scholarship.
Mm-hmm.
Will laser eye surgery prevent you from enlisting?
No, just give the paperwork. Bring the paperwork. Medical documents. For all the medical things, really, just bring the medical documents.
Okay, yeah, I'll skip most of the other stuff. Yeah, because the vast majority of things, you guys, they can waive as long as it, isn't like making it where you physically can't do something.
Yep.
If you go in and you, I don't know, were born like missing both legs and they probably can't have you join, but
No.
the vast majority of stuff, I imagine you can.
I mean, if you're cleared for any and all physical activity after your surgery, it can be, there's a waiver for it. It'll get cleared as long as you're not, say you have back surgery and you now can't lift anything over 100 pounds. Well, obviously you're not going to be able to join the Marine Corps, or it's going to, or we're going to look at your paperwork. But if you have any type of anything medical, you got to go to doctors and get work done. Submit the paperwork because I'm not a medical doctor. I don't know if you are physically fit and found qualified. So no recruiter out there that is. So just make sure you get the paperwork, you give it to them, and they'll get you cleared.
And this is one of the things that I try to explain, but I think it's better coming from you. What are some of the things that you do in the delayed entry program, and kind of like what's the point of it from your side of having kids in the delayed entry program?
First thing is it's our job to prepare you for recruit training. I mean, Staff Sergeant Harrop did a phenomenal job of not just getting me physically ready as when he was my recruiter, but he got me mentally ready. Explained to me how I should report in, talking in the third person, things that I don't normally do, knowing my rank structure, learning my general orders, getting me prepared mentally and physically for recruit training. That's what he did. And then also surrounding myself with a group of individuals that I'm talking to now 11 years down the road, making friends early, and having that support group really when you go through recruit training. So I think for me, it's just preparedness. This is why it's important for you to come in, is because it's our job to prepare you for recruit training, physically, mentally. Make sure that you are the best recruit when you get down to Parris Island or MCRD San Diego.
Good. Yeah. Well, how does your station work in regards to like pulley functions and stuff?
I do a pool function the second Saturday of every month. We'll do a pool function. Today we just did our IST, and then we did a sprint circuit course. We did the figure 8, which is a great one. And if anybody wants to know what the figure 8 is and how it can help them, I'd be glad to send you a little diagram and show it out to them. But it's basically just a jog, sprint, sleigh fest for 7 minutes for 3 rounds. It's great.
Yes, send that to me when you get a chance. I'll post it up on my page.
I will do that. And then we went over drill and general orders today.
Good.
Next month, we will be going out here. I have a CrossFit gym that I go to here. It's called CrossFit Medford for any of you guys in the Jersey area. They do a great job. He comes in here and he gives us 2 hours. He runs us through a CrossFit class for all my poolies. We do a good solid CrossFit workout, and I do that once a quarter with them. We go to the Marine Corps History Museum. We'll drive down there. We have just once a month we get together. It's mandatory, and we just work out together as a team or go do something as a team. That's the only mandatory thing that I make sure I have 100% accountability and people showing up to. But then I also do Monday, Wednesday, Friday. One of my recruiters is running a PT session at 4:30 till 5:30 in the afternoon. And then Tuesdays and Thursdays, I also do a remedial PT session for anybody that's not currently passing their IST.
Okay.
That varies from each recruiting station, how they run their PT programs and all that. I just do a more aggressive PT program because, after all, it's my job to get you guys prepared the best that you can be prepared.
Yeah, and the more you can work out, the easier things will be in boot camp. That's for sure.
For sure.
And speaking of Staff Sergeant Harab, I saw him not overly long ago.
Did you?
Yeah, he was a tech with Comcast now. And he was limping along, and he had like a full beard.
Awesome.
Which fucking weirded me out. And then
bet.
And I'm like, fuck, he looks so familiar. And he came up, he's like, dude, how the hell you been? I was like, holy crap, this is a throwback right here.
He started that Braves wrestling club, man. They've launched. They're doing great.
Are they? I'll have to look into it. I didn't know he did that.
Yeah, Braves, the Braves, man. He's actually on Facebook. I talk to him every once in a while on Facebook, and he's gotten that wrestling club is doing phenomenal.
Hell yeah. I've been looking to get into one. I'll have to take a look at that then.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's see. Some of these are worded weird, so I'm trying to put it together in my head. It says, what can happen if I choose not to go open contract or be on standby? By the time my ship date comes along or after my time in the DEP comes to an end? So I guess if he's waiting for a specific MOS, maybe?
Yeah, if you choose not to go on open contract, or you decide you don't want to leave and you go past your 365 days, you'll just be a discharge. You'll be discharged from the program.
Are you allowed to join back up later, or are you done?
Yeah, you can join back up.
Can you? Okay. Oh God. I want to know, what was your MOS before recruiting? Do you plan on doing 20 years? And then the last one is relatively irrelevant. When do you have time to shave your pubes in boot camp?
Okay. Oh, well.
God.
You don't really have any time for that. But
Yeah.
hey. My MOS before recruiting was I'm an 0811 artillery cannoneer, king of battle, greatest MOS out there if you ask me. And then I'm actually planning on doing 20 years, and I'm actually in the process right now of becoming a career recruiter. So basically, I fell in love with this duty. I love not only seeing the beginning of such great careers, but also I love helping career Marines advance their careers and show them and mentor them and teach them how to be strong recruiters. And really just show, I think more importantly as a recruiter, our job is, yes, to put young men and women into the United States Marine Corps. But in a lot of places, like Vancouver, Washington, there's not a lot of Marine presence in there. There's not a footprint in the Marine Corps. So the Marine Corps recruiters were what the people of Vancouver saw for the Marine Corps. Here in New Jersey, where I'm at, there's a Fort Dix, there's an Army base and an Air Force base. It's a very small Marine Corps presence here. So I am, what my area in New Jersey knows about the Marine Corps, and I take a lot of pride in that. So that's really, I'm trying to become a career recruiter, and I'll be an 8412 if everything goes planned, and continue on that path for the next, 9 to hopefully 19 years. Hope I go 30 years if I can. Master guns.
That'd be awesome. I completely blanked what I was going to ask. Yeah, hopefully you can do that. That'd be legit as hell. Do you plan on staying in New Jersey?
I do. I just bought a house. Used the GI Bill, which is a phenomenal thing. No down, 0% interest, nothing down. Bought my wife and kids a nice, beautiful home, and all because of the Marine Corps, and
Hmm.
the structure that it's given me and the stability. But yeah, we're planning on staying in New Jersey. I miss Washington every now and then, but I mean, I came out here and just I fell in love with it. I love the East Coast
Yeah, that's awesome. Plus, you got some legit snow this year.
so much. It was I've never seen 22 inches of snow in my life except for at the mountain. And woke up. I'm like, well, I'm not going to work today. That's
Yeah,
when it
probably not going
started.
to be able to drive
It's like
down.
I call my guys like, well, we're not any climbing place today, guys.
Yeah, to sit at home and watch movies sort of day.
Yeah. That's exactly what it was. It was just something else. But for the guys listening, get out there and definitely reach out to your recruiter. And even if you're not sure if you want to join the Marine Corps or even join the military, I use this analogy with everybody when I talk to them. It's like buying a car. You're not going to go to buy a car and the first car you jump in is going to be the car that you leave the park lot with. That doesn't really ever happen. You're going to test drive a few. You're going to look at a few online. It's going to be a 3 week, month long process
Hmm.
for you to figure out which one really fits you and what you need in your life. It's the same thing about the military and about the Marine Corps. The military might not be for you. College might be for you, or a trade school might be for you, or the military might be for you. But if you don't sit down and hear what each one has to offer you, or what plan they're going to give you, and how it's going to help you reach your overall goal of being a successful individual in life, you'll never know which one was the right path. So make sure you get out there and talk to everybody,
Yep.
and sit down and talk to a recruiter. If you're in an area where there's a recruiter, pick up the phone, give them a call, walk in, ask them the questions. They'll be glad to talk to you.
Absolutely. And that's something I try to tell people too, because same when it comes to like the job that you pick, it's like you have to go with, because some, like their parents don't want them to do infantry
Hmm.
or their girlfriend or whatever it is. And it's like, man, in the end, you have to pick what you're going to enjoy.
Yeah.
It's like, I understand the pressure that family can put on you, but you have to do what's going to make you happy. If not, you'll be miserable and you'll regret doing it, and that's no fun.
I think the one thing that frustrates me the most when I see it is when guys don't do what they want to do because of a girlfriend. Because chances are you're not going to be dating that girl in 2 years, and you're going to basically she wins, and she controlled your life because you made a decision because of her.
Hmm.
Family, mom and dad. I mean, the kind of person I am is when you walk in, even if you're 20 years old, I'm still going to ask you how did mom and dad feel, and if you say they're not supportive, I'm going to want to get face to face with them and find out why they're not supportive and talk
Yeah,
to them and hopefully get their support. Um, but I mean, always got to do what you feel is right and what's going to make you happy, like you said, brother.
absolutely, because you don't want to regret your time in. That's one thing
Yeah.
I've definitely learned. Looks like we got about 10, maybe 15 more.
Okay.
We're getting right
Yeah.
towards the
Sure.
end here. Is flat feet, is that waiverable?
It's gonna be a waiver. Yeah, they're gonna need to look at that for medical documents. You'll probably get depending on how bad it is.
Okay,
You might have to get a consult for that.
sure. Um, is there a certain amount of times you have to meet with your recruiter? Like once you've signed up and you've been through the whole process? I think that
For
just depends on the station, right? Like in terms of your
Yeah, it's
drills and
internal.
things.
That's all internal. For me, I, I mean, I guess it's mandatory. You should speak to a recruiter once a week. But if you're not building a relationship with your recruiter, I think that you're wrong. And I think your recruiter's wrong for that. I shouldn't say you're wrong. I should say your recruiter's wrong. Definitely, I think it's. I'm a mentor to these young men and women that are entering, and I'm the
Hmm.
first person that they see that's a Marine. I'm the example of what they should be. I know that a lot. I find myself in a lot of things that I do, or a lot of ways I carry myself emulate the way that Staff Sergeant Harrop carried himself.
Yeah.
So I think that you should want to contact your recruiter all the time, and you should also be talking to your friends or your classmates about coming and hearing what the Marine Corps has to offer, and so then you should be talking to your recruiter every time you're passing their information to him. So I'd like to say that you should talk to him at least two times a week would be good.
Okay. Yeah, that's good advice. And I know I talk with Staff Sergeant Harrod and Staff Sergeant Howard quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Same principle.
Yep.
The So just in general, the tattoo policy on the Marine Corps. Obviously no swastikas or anything weird, but what can and can't you have, and like where can and can't you have tattoos?
All right, so this is a big one, and this is going to determine also on the area. For me, I'll give you my answer for where I'm at right now.
Hmm.
Nothing. If it's 3 inches, it has to be 3 inches above the wrist. If it's by your wrist, I see a lot of wrist tattoos now. So if
Hmm.
it's right there, like where a watch band's at, it's going to be permanently disqualifying. No waivers for where I'm at right now.
Okay.
If you got a chest tattoo and it can be seen in a V-neck, no good. It's going to need a waiver. If it's bigger than you being able to cover it with your hand,
Yeah.
um, then it's going to need a waiver. Basically, anything that can be seen in PT gear that cannot be covered with the hand is going to be a waiver. It's not a hard waiver. It's not a waiver that doesn't get approved. They're going to get approved. It just takes a little bit longer time.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question.
Yeah.
Is you can certainly submit the waiver, but how stringent is the Corps being on it? 'Cause I know the last Commandant was pretty strict on the tattoo policy.
It's the tattoo policy is definitely strict. As long as it's not obscene, curse words, racist, gang related, and don't try to be sneaky and sneak in a gang related tattoo. They all get screened by a gang task force, so they definitely.
Oh, do they?
Oh yeah, they got a gang. They submit them up, and it's pretty intense. If it's looked at and possibly gang related, they do their research. But I mean, it's basically if you're 17 years old looking to join the Marine Corps, don't get a tattoo. I mean, I got a few tattoos and it's closed a few doors for me. So wait till you get wait to get tattoos till you're fully established is basically how I look at it.
Yeah, and that's what I've told a few kids too. It's like wait, you have plenty of time to get them, and then wait until you've been in the Marine Corps a while, and perhaps which B billet and stuff you want to go for, because there's certainly some B billets that won't. You basically can't have any. They're a lot stricter on it, so you don't want to screw yourself out of getting a job down the road because you got drunk one day and decided to get a tattoo.
Yep, basically, exactly.
The next big one here is enlisting as a foreign citizen that wants to come here. What are the basics that they need to have?
Your green card. You need to have your green card. I mean that's basically really it. I mean it's hard. Like the one young man you talked to me about.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing I could do for him. We can get your citizenship if you have your green card, or your permanent residence visa.
Okay, yeah. So you just basically go out there and do whatever is needed to get that green card.
If you're not living in America, it's really I've never seen it. But if you're here in America right now, go talk to recruiters. Tell them what you have. As long as you're not illegal, we're going to be able to work with you.
Okay.
As long as you're not on a work visa.
Sure. Well, that's good to know. Yeah, and I figured it was the green card. It was kind of the big thing needed, but you never know. Yeah. Do you know anything about who gets chosen to be a DM in a platoon, designated marksman?
No idea on that one. I don't know that one.
That's not fair. I didn't know if when you guys were in Afghanistan,
I sent a few. It was just guys that me personally, when my platoon commander asked me who I wanted to send a DM course, it was just the guys that I thought were the most mature, deserve the spot, that are going to take the course serious.
Yeah, I mean it's a serious job. Will the Marines pay for my college to become an officer? Like perhaps when they go to re-enlist.
The NRTC scholarship.
Yeah.
If you're a junior or senior, there's the PLC program, platoon leaders course program, and then obviously Marine Corps is going to pay for it on the tuition assistance side, and then if you get out the GI Bill, then you can come back in as an officer.
Okay. They want to know about BAH and the utilities and kind of all that stuff if you're living on base housing.
Okay. They just want to know what you pay for? Or?
Yeah, kind of what the fees are, because quite a few people here are married or they have kids, and so they're probably not going to be in the barracks, and I never experienced that. So
I know in 29 Palms, I didn't pay anything. I mean, I just paid my rent, really. My BAH, I had electricity paid for, utilities paid for, trash, all that was covered. I didn't have to pay anything for that. In Hawaii, they started charging for, and I think Pendleton started charging electricity.
Mm-hmm.
Here in Fort Dix, all they took was my BH for rent. I didn't have to pay for anything else. So depending on the base, I think is what you're gonna pay and not pay for. But like I said, in 29 Palms, I didn't pay for anything. My first time paying a water bill and an electric bill was when I moved into my own house once I bought it here in New
Yeah.
Jersey.
Okay, yeah, I was wondering, did you live on base housing or were you off base in 29?
I was on base housing. I was
Okay.
on base housing in 29 Palms, on base housing in Hawaii, and then I lived on base here for about 2 years in New Jersey at Fort Dix.
Okay. Okay. Well, there you go. Are there any particular jobs that the Marine Corps is itching for right now outside, band members?
Um, not really. No, no, not. I mean, not nothing we're really searching for. Just qualified individuals they're smart and ready to do a good job.
Okay. Uh, can you sign to be a pilot if you get LASIK? I imagine that falls under as long as you can pass the
Yeah, I think you
vision
got to
test after.
talk to a officer recruiter for that one. I don't know for sure, but it's a special contract for pilot.
Is it? Okay. Um, I mean, this depends. It's, what are the rules on back-to-back deployments? Um,
I thought. I mean, I don't know if it's changed right now, but it wasn't at a 2-to-1 ratio.
yeah.
I mean, it's supposed to be. Theoretically, it's supposed to be what it is. But hey, you may, you know, I know there was a couple turnarounds where we did 7 and 5, and with the turnaround.
Yeah,
Really, I guess my answer to that question is, you don't really ever say, when you're told to jump, you just say how high. So.
mm-hmm. Well, I know there was a grunt I knew. He was in 3-4 first, and he came back, went with 1-7, and then came back and went with 2-7.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, yeah, it just depends, I guess, on the deployment tempo. And then the very last one is there a scout sniper contract? Or is that
No,
purely something they do after?
that's something you can go once you go to. I know that they do. You can go to sniper school when you're in infantry school.
Oh, they select you from there.
You can go there if you're highly qualified, but that's something that you got to take the indoc for and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Once you're in, so there's not a scout sniper contract.
Okay. Well, sweet. That's all of them as far as I'm aware. That was a whole bunch.
Yeah, I'm scrolling through right now. I'm not seeing any that we missed.
Yeah, there was a couple repeats that I skipped over.
The one drone. How do you become a drone instructor?
Oh, yep.
That one. Same thing. That's you got to. That's after your first enlistment. I did 2 enlistments before I went on what's called a B billet. Right now, you're doing your MOS is your A billet. I went. It's just a B billet. It's showing that you can be effective outside of your military occupational specialty. I chose to go recruiting. There's also people get voluntold to go recruiting or drill instructor. It's just basically once you go to re-enlist after your first 4 or 5 years, you set yourself up for a B billet, and drill instructor will be one of your B billets. And you got to go to school, which is boot camp all over again, just as a Marine.
Yep. And, I mean, the Marine Corps is pretty decent about trying to get people, the specific job that they want.
Yes.
For your re-enlistment. So if you want to be a recruiter or an MCT instructor or, a drill instructor, they try to get you that position.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it comes down to how many people are applying for it, who's the most qualified. And that's one thing I tell them a lot is that the Marine Corps is very competitive with anything. So,
Yes.
like, if you want to get promoted, if you want to go to these different schools with the Marine Corps officers, you got to make yourself the best you can be before they'll pick you.
For sure. And I think, like me, I volunteered for recruiting duty, and there was, everybody's like, man, you're crazy.
Yeah.
I had no issues volunteering for it. I think when people get voluntold and they get hit on the HIS list and all that, it's a lot of times when they're sitting, and they're due for rotation, and they re-enlisted, but they didn't ask for orders anywhere. They want to stay put where they're at.
Mm-hmm.
The Marine Corps doesn't like it when you stay put too long. They want you constantly moving.
Yep.
And I think that's when you get hit on that, is when you get too comfortable in one spot.
Yeah, and they definitely make you move around. You'll see guys that have done a little bit of everything if they've been in long enough.
For sure.
Well, sweet, man. I appreciate you taking the time out of
Yeah.
your Saturday here.
Definitely. Let's do it. Let's do it again if you get some more big questions come up and want to do it, or if you ever have a question, shoot me a text, an email, a phone call, whatever. I can jump on and answer a quick question for you. I'm usually always available.
Excellent. Yeah, you guys heard him. If you ever need anything, let me know, and I can call him up, pretty much any time, and he'll answer. So yeah, I really appreciate your time, bud.
No problem. All right, buddy. I appreciate it. I'll talk to you soon. Semper Fi.
That's Semper Fi, brother. Hey guys, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. All the links that you need to get in contact with me are down below. Facebook being the best one to contact me. I'm on my phone all the time, so it's just easiest for me to be able to get back to you with your variety of questions that you guys have. And yeah, if you need anything, by all means, hit me up. So please hit that subscribe button so you can keep in tune with future videos. And I'll see you later. Peace.